Otherwise, it will end badly for us all. My first exposure to the financial world was in 1970 in the second grade, when Mr. Sampson, the manager of Springfield Savings and Loan, came to speak to our class about banks. There was nothing exotic about Mr. Sampson. He wore a gray suit, red tie, and shiny grown-up shoes. He circled the room with a stack of booklets, passing one to each of us. On the cover, the logo of the bank was printed, along with a place for me to scrawl my name. I flipped through its pages of unfilled lines and boxes, each page backed by the ghosted portrait of a U.S. president. As we inspected our booklets, Mr. Sampson instructed us to pull out the dimes we'd been asked to bring to class. Mine had been burning a hole in my pocket all day. "Those dimes," he said, "are your first deposit. If you bring in a dime every week, I'll come by on Fridays to collect them and give you a stamp for your book. Then, I'll deposit your money in the bank. While it's in the bank, your money will collect interest, which means we'll reward your account with a little bonus each month. And during the time your money is with us, we might use it for other purposes, such as loaning it out to people who are opening a new shop or buying a house. Any time you want to withdraw your money, you just come down to see us. But if you leave it alone and let it grow, after time, you'll have accumulated savings." Our teacher told us to line up. At the table in the front of the room, Mr. Sampson collected our dimes in a black leather bag and stamped the first pages of our books to verify our deposits. "There are 30 weeks left in the school year," he said. "If you bring in your dime every week, you'll have saved $3 by summer break." We were floored by the prospect that we could someday possess that much money. Back at my desk, I quickly calculated how much I could save if I did this for 3 additional years, until the end of 5th grade. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. Whoa! I could have $12. From that day on, I brought in my dime every week, without fail, and assiduously filled my book with stamps. My parents' experience with money wasn't much more complicated than what Mr. Sampson taught us that day in 2nd grade. Back then, in the late 1960s, when their friends paid off their mortgages, they would often throw a party at which they would burn their mortgage slips. Finance was simple enough that the common path for a family was to purchase a home, dutifully work to pay down the mortgage, then enjoy an easier retirement. That level of simplicity is almost unheard of today. We spend so much time worrying about money now, almost around the clock, and I can't say that makes us better off. Yet, on the flip side, there was a time not too long ago when we didn't have the many advantages the financial world now provides. For example, mortgages weren't widely available to the general public. If you wanted to buy a house, you had to save up the entire purchase price. So, the increase in complexity in the financial world has also brought with it products that have made many people's lives better. Modern finance always seems a double-edged sword, which is why the universe of money has long intrigued me. I got my first glimpse of the dangerous side of money in high school, when my family moved from Springfield, Massachusetts to Orange County, California. My father had been offered a new job as CEO of a company that had been acquired in a leveraged buyout. I vividly recall him distraught at the dinner table, talking about how interest rates had skyrocketed, and as a result, he was forced to cut costs at his new company in order to service the debt. Cutting costs meant cutting jobs, and my father felt a heavy responsibility for his employees and concern for their families. At that young age, seeing the effect of those pressures on my father and his company, I had little understanding of leveraged buyouts and the movement of interest rates, yet I was filled with apprehension. What would happen to the people who lost their jobs due to the cutbacks? How did those larger external economic factors force my father to make uncomfortable and unpopular decisions? It would take years before I could begin to understand these concepts and their impact on people's lives.